Magnanimity. What is this? Magnanimity is not mercy. Magnanimity is not generosity. It is a very precise term. Aristotle was the first that described scientifically the content of this word. If you have no time to read Aristotle, just take a time and read 2 pages of his Ethics, the portrait of the magnanimous man. If you've done that, you can say, I've read Aristotle. And I understand everything. It's beautiful. He painted for us what's magnanimity. It's the first thing that we see in leaders. What is this? He says that a magnanimous person is a person that considers or judges himself worthy of great things. For him, magnanimity has to do with worthiness and dignity. It's a vision of self. It's a vision of greatness. It is a vision of the exalted vocation of the human being. It is a sense of man or woman. It's a sense of self. Understanding that you are not just a vegetable. You are not just an animal. You have a spirit. You are much more than this. It is the striving of the spirit, of the will, of the heart towards great things. The striving of the spirit, the will, the mind, the heart towards great things. And this is the first thing that we see in real leaders. It is a specificity of leadership. It's a vision of self and a vision of the others. A new dimension of what a human being is and what a human being is called to do in life. It has to do with a sense of mission. It has to do with a sense of vocation in life. It has to do with the capacity to set to yourself very high goals and to set to the whole others also very high goals in life. When Darwin Smith was a lawyer who became the CEO of the company Kimberly-Clark in 1971. He's the one who operated this incredible turnaround of Kimberly-Clark in the 1970s. Jim Collins speaks about him in his book, From Good to Great. When Darwin Smith was appointed CEO of Kimberly-Clark, what was the first thing he did? He looked at the people around and he said, well, we have a company that has 100 years of history. We've been producing coated paper for 100 years. We're a good company. But I look at people around and I have the impression that we are all functionaries here. Functionaries. We have a kind of monopoly of coated paper. There is no competition. We're happy with ourselves. There isn't much creativity. I earn a lot of money. I can feed my 4 children, no problem. But I was not born for that. Magnanimity. I was not born for that. A vision of self. A vision that you're not a functionary. A vision that money is something important, but it's not everything. It's an Aristotelian, I would say, view of life. Understanding that I have to develop, I have to transform myself, and I have to help my people transforming themselves. We have to look for greatness or die. This was the slogan, this was the sentence he was saying about. Greatness or death. People can say, well, this sounds crazy in an organization. Greatness or death. We're sitting here in chairs, we're functionaries, we've got our money, our company is moving forward. What do you want? What else do you want? We're in business. We make money. We're no good. We are no bad. We're good. But this is management. This is not leadership. Management is about how to get things done. Leadership is about how do you achieve greatness. And by achieving greatness, making incredible things done. Not just things done, but incredible things done. So he had a vision of himself, he had a vision of his people, and he understood. We cannot stay like this, because the aim of life is not just to earn money. It's not just to survive as an organization. Our aim as human beings, who wants to be magnanimous, is to achieve greatness, personal greatness, and organizational greatness. And money, of course, in business, we need money. I mean, we need to have money because we're in business. But profit is not the aim of business. These people enter business not to make profit. These people that are magnanimous enter business in order to achieve personal and organizational greatness. This is leadership. And they make a lot of money. And they make a lot of money. Because greatness brings money. He convinces people that this was the way to go, to sell everything, to sell 100 years of corporate history, and to invest that money in a new business, in the consumer paper industry, where we have big competitors, 3M, Procter & Gamble. They will oblige us to achieve this greatness we're dreaming about. So he made that decision. The majority of his managers agreed. He had, of course, to fire a certain amount of people who probably they didn't fire them, they just laughed. They thought he was crazy. Magnanimity is always interpreted by the small-minded people as craziness. Don't be afraid sometimes if you think you are doing something magnanimous, that your heart, your will tells you do that. It's big, it's beautiful. And people around tells you crazy. They will tell you you're crazy. Very often you're not crazy, it's just magnanimity. But it doesn't enter their heart, it doesn't enter their mind. They see craziness where there is magnanimity. But magnanimity is not craziness. Prudence is the virtue that directs all the virtues. In magnanimity there is prudence. There is practical wisdom. But there is a vision of what a human being is. You can make a lot of prudent decisions in your life that are not magnanimous at all. In a given situation, what will be the leadership decision? In a given situation, the leadership decision is the magnanimous decision, not any kind of decision, of prudent decision. Smith, he was a prudent leader. He could have said, okay guys, 100 years of corporate history, we're doing well. Let's go on with that. Why would we change anything? And we would have tell him, that's prudent. That's prudent because it's been working, so let's go on with that. That works. But he was a leader. He was not just a man that practiced the 4 fundamental virtues. So he had magnanimity. And then he understood that the only decision that can be taken by a leadership now is a magnanimous decision. A decision that is going to make a difference. It's going to change something important in our lives and the life of others. Darwin Smith was criticized by people. He was criticized by Forbes. He was criticized by Wall Street Journal, Financial Times. They accused him of being an idiot. But in the end of the day, he won the battle. After 3 years, the results of his company were better than the results of 3M, Procter & Gamble. We know the story. Forbes apologized. We didn't know who you were. Why? Because the media have no idea about what leadership is about. The media, they speak of leaders as bosses. To be a boss is not to be a leader. Leadership is not a position in life. Leadership is a way of being. It's a way of practicing the virtues. It's who you are. It's a real ideal of life. It's not just the position. I don't like even the expression leadership position. What does this really mean? In many organizations, when you look at people who say, well, the leaders are not at the top. They are somewhere else. Often, of course, it happens that the leader is at the top. But very often we see bosses at the top. And we see leaders all in other places. Because leadership is not the formal power. It is the informal power that you have that comes from character. It's not what's written in your visit card. What's written in your visit card is your position inside the organization. But this tells us nothing in terms of leadership. It tells us nothing in terms of the virtues you practice. It says a little bit, it says nothing about your magnanimity, the level of your magnanimity. And we have a lot of people who practice those virtues, especially magnanimity, and they are not yet, or they are not, they will never become, will not be at the top of organizations. So, this is important. The media speaks about our leaders very often when they have in mind our bosses. It's not the same thing. A leadership is a moral activity. You understand? It's the position. Smith had the courage to stay the course. He didn't waver when he was accused of being a criminal. He went on with the decision, implemented it until the end. He didn't even answer those journalists who wrote against him, saying that he was crazy. He had an incredible self-control of his passions, anger, control it. And justice, because what was he doing? He was helping his people to transform themselves. He was helping them to grow. He was helping them to stop being functionaries and practice creativity, growth. And they begin to become real human beings. And they produce a lot of fruits. And the results of their work was just incredible, just after 3 years of working. Magnanimity.